Welcome to another episode of Baking for Change. We have a delicious episode in store for you. I am your host, Wendy Pauls, and I'm very excited to introduce our guest baker for today, Spicy Jan. Okay, why do you call yourself Spicy Jan? Where does this come from?
Hi, Wendy. Thanks so much for welcoming me today as Spicy Jan. You can call me Jan, Janice, or Spicy Jan.
Okay, I like spicy too.
Okay, well, yeah. I like spicy too. So Spicy Jan actually came about 15 years ago when I was working in the gourmet food industry and going into people's homes, teaching them how to cook, looking at some different seasonings, spices, different marinades, and how to really make some effective recipes in their own home. And people used to always ask me, so which spice girl are you? And I was like, in the beginning, I got really uncomfortable with it, and I was thinking, which spice girl am I? And one day, one of my guests said, I think you're Spicy Jan. And I was like, I like it because I had been Old Spice. I had been Mama Spice. And so I really liked Spicy Jan. And one day I was in the grocery store, and someone came up to me and said, oh my gosh. Well, they said it from a distance. It's Spicy Jan. And I said, all right, Spicy Jan it is.
Okay,
and it helps me know how people know me. So if it's cooking, culinary, tourism, community, Spicy Jan it is.
Okay, amazing. A little bit later in the program, we're going to talk about tasty road trips.
Sure.
But I want to get into what we're making today so that people that are baking along with us at home, a reminder that our ingredient list is always on the website in advance. So you can get your ingredients ready. You can be following along and baking with us, because then when we get to the tasting portion of the show, you don't have to just watch us drool over this deliciousness. You can be tasting your own delicious baking. So keep that in mind.
Love it.
So let's tell our friends at home what we're going to be making today.
Great. So today we're making mini cheesecakes using the Instant Pot, which so many people have. And a lot of times we think of it as a savory appliance, but it's a delicious cheesecake maker. And so we're going to show everyone at home how to do that.
I love that. And for those of you that have been watching, you know that every week I'm learning something new. And truthfully, I confessed earlier, I have never used an Instant Pot. So this is going to be all new for me.
Right.
And I love the idea of making mini cheesecakes in an Instant Pot.
And we'll get to eat them today as well.
And everybody also knows that's my favorite part of the show. I'm sure I will say that again later as well. So let's get into it. We'll have some more chat later, but let's get into it. So what's the first thing we do to make these mini cheesecakes?
Okay, so what we're going to be working with is ramekin jars. So I have a 250 ml jar that I'm just going to show you the context. And of course with cheesecake, we always want to make sure there's a really nice base. We've got our cheesecake layer and a topping. So we're going to start by making our base. And what I've got here, Wendy, is some just 2 tablespoons of butter. And then I've got 3/4 of a cup of some graham wafers.
Okay.
You could do chocolate, you could do the regular vanilla, and you can do a mix if you wanted to put them in your food processor, buy the actual cookies. So there's no restriction on what your graham wafer crust should be like. But today we're going to use the vanilla, going to pour it in. The beautiful thing about making a graham wafer crust, honestly, is that you don't want it too buttery, because when you cook it, that butter will actually come into the cheesecake, which you don't really want to have a buttery cheesecake, although that sounds decadent. I know.
Yes.
You don't. So we just want to make a bit of a light texture, making sure that our butter grabs onto. Do you want to give that a try? See how it feels? Because you can feel that like it's grabbing a little bit.
So much like pressure.
Okay, you'll be fine. Give it a
You're
little,
gonna be fine.
Instead of a stir, like a little bit of a pat, so that you're actually absorbing the butter into the graham wafer. And what I'm going to do for fun, because I like cinnamon. Do you like cinnamon?
It's a bit of a spice.
Oh, do you like cinnamon?
I love cinnamon.
I'm going to put a little bit of cinnamon into it. Just about 1/8 of a teaspoon.
Okay.
And if you don't mind mixing that in as well, that looks great.
How
Give it
can
a
you
good
tell?
pat.
I'm trying.
It looks good.
It's looking
We
good?
just want it. We just want it so that it's just got a nice crumbly texture.
Okay.
We don't want it to be
Not
dry.
not looking like sand, I suppose.
Kind of like sand.
A little
but we
like
want it to
sand?
be a
Okay.
little bit stickier than sand.
Okay. So this is looking pretty good, I think. You can tell me what you think.
Looks fantastic.
But while we're filling our ramekins
Yes.
to make our little cheesecakes, I'd love to hear more about Tasty Road Trips. What is it? Tell me, tell our friends at home, because we'd love to hear.
Wonderful. So I am the owner operator of a delicious culinary tourism business called Tasty Road Trips. Please find us on any social platform by just typing in TASTYROADTRIPS. Actually, just like that.
There we go.
So as you see, Wendy, I like to travel, taste, sip, and go. And let's do a little bit of work while I share with you.
Okay.
That's a great idea.
Yeah, we can multitask.
We can multitask. So Tasty Road Trips is all about highlighting culinary tourism in small town Ontario. So I like to say we have small towns with big tastes. And the beautiful thing about culinary tourism is that you get to experience places that typically guests or visitors, even locals of an area, might not go to. I identified that we're creatures of habit. Creatures of habit means that we go to the same places, we go where we're comfortable, we go where we know what to expect. But actually with Tasty Road Trips, we have delicious curated itineraries where our guests get to go into typically 6 to 8 different locations.
Okay.
Typically places they've never been to before. They might have seen them on social media, they might have heard about them, but they haven't gone because they don't know what's behind the doors of that address. So when I was traveling a few years ago, I had the experience of culinary tourism on a global scale. Often food tours we think about this is what we do while we're on vacation.
Right.
And I had those experiences and they were lovely. And I was really impacted on one culinary tour. You're doing fabulous, by the way.
I was going to say, are these okay?
Look great. They're
Good.
perfect.
Good.
But I was really impacted. It was in Mexico. We were on a food tour. There was a lovely woman serving up some street food. She was cooking on an outdoor clay oven and she had her baby swaddled with her. And in that, and she was making us some beautiful food. There were some empanadas, fresh for us. We were standing around her, just this little corner. And it really made me realize in that moment that food builds community. That we were on this beautiful food tour. It was an incentive trip through the company I was working with, but in that moment, actually, we were feeding her family. And we were giving an opportunity to make a difference to that community. So it was a real win-win experience. And Tasty Road Trips really grew because of exactly that I want to help local entrepreneurs, small businesses, our hidden gems that have beautiful flavors but maybe aren't the biggest and the busiest. And those are the businesses that Tasty Road Trip goes to. And we're in multiple communities in southwestern Ontario, and it's really about small towns, big tastes, and meeting incredible entrepreneurs, meeting the makers.
So I did see on your website that one of the locations that you do these is Paris, Ontario.
Yes.
So first of all, like, how do you choose which locations people will visit? Like, how does that happen?
How do I choose?
How do you choose? Yeah.
Well, my business started in Paris. So I live in the Paris, Ontario area, in the outskirts. And it was actually one day when I was doing my own shopping over 5 years ago. And I went it was a Saturday morning. I was walking around downtown Paris. I went to the butcher, went to the baker, went to the cheese shop. And all of a sudden, and went to the chocolate shop. Of course, the chocolate shop.
I've been there. I've been to the chocolate shop.
Chocolate Sensations.
Okay. Yes.
Yep. Beautiful family-run business. And all of a sudden, I was like, oh my goodness. Goodie Goodie. I have an idea. And I think I'm walking my own food tour every Saturday. So my flagship location really is the walking tour in Paris.
Okay.
We have two different tours that are in Paris, but it really comes from when my guests might say, "Ooh, you should go there."
Just a reminder that Baking for Change supports UNICEF Canada. So please visit our website and consider making a small donation.
It's time to get making our cheesecake filling.
Ooh, okay.
I'm going to give you the increments, but I do have it in my head.
Okay.
I've made this recipe quite a few times, so I'll try to, if I don't say the increment, please, I'm going to get Wendy to remind me. So we've got 2 eggs. How are you at cracking eggs?
Well, under pressure. I'm a cracked egg under pressure. How about you do it?
Okay, how about you do one and I'll do
right,
one.
okay,
Let's start
all
with
right.
the eggs. Excellent. Good job, Wendy.
Look at that. No
Look
shell.
at no shell.
Woo!
High five. Nice. Okay. Teamwork in the kitchen is always a great way to begin. So I'm just going to give my hands a little white, and I've got my apron on, so this is good.
So,
And I've got 3/4 of a cup of sugar, so I'm just going to pop all the sugar in there.
Would you like me to stir while you're adding ingredients?
Why don't you stir while I'm adding
Teamwork.
ingredients? That's awesome. Thanks, Wendy.
No problem.
And in this recipe, it does call for a little bit of cornstarch. I've done
Okay.
it with and without, but I thought I would follow the recipe. I'm just going to put in about 1/2 teaspoon of some cornstarch. We're going to get that well mixed up. I've got some vanilla, just about
vanilla.
ooh, that's more than 1/2 teaspoon, so I'm not going to put it all in.
Okay.
1/2 teaspoon of vanilla.
Lots of vanilla.
Yep, I'm going to just pop that over there.
Okay, this is coming along.
Yeah, it looks great. And then we've got some sour cream. So it is a
okay.
1/4 cup of sour cream, which I typically measure as 2 heaping teaspoons. That's
Okay.
my 1/4 cup.
Okay.
Are you that kind of baker?
No, I wish I was that kind of baker.
I'll write it up for you.
Okay, thank you.
all
I
right.
appreciate that.
And here is the magic of what makes this recipe delicious, and that is our cream cheese. So I actually picked up, because it was on sale at my local Foodland, this is, I'm just going to tell you, because we do want 16 ounces of cream cheese, which typically a lot of people are looking at the brick, which is easy. 2 bricks is 16 ounces.
Yes.
But on this one, it's 340 grams, so it's about 1.5 of the tubs.
Okay,
So I'm
that's
going to put
good
a
to
full
know.
tub
That's
in.
helpful.
Yep, just in case you're cooking at home and you think, now what did Spicy Jan tell me?
Right.
Okay,
Yes.
so we're going to pop this in. Now that's going to start to feel like...
thick, and I'm using my muscles now at this
So
point.
you start and I'll finish. How's that? Now, at home, you could use a
mixer?
mixer.
Okay.
I'm going to put 1.5 in here. I typically don't get my mixer out. I just love to work
like getting
my
in
day
there.
off
Yeah,
by
it's the
mixing
workout.
it. Yeah. I
Burn
do.
calories so you can eat calories.
So we're just going to give this a really great mix, Wendy, making sure. I like using a spatula.
Yes.
You could use a fork, but I do like using a spatula because it'll work away and getting those lumps in there. Does it have to be perfectly smooth? It doesn't.
It does not.
Some
Okay.
people like it, and that's totally fine. Usually cheesecake is smooth. But today, I'm just going to show the manual way, and that's because not everybody has a mixer.
That's true.
So,
yeah.
a little bit of strength,
keeping it
brute
real.
strength, and let's get going. The other thing that's really fantastic, and a lot of times this isn't in the recipe, but I brought a 1/4 of a lemon, and I'm just going to squeeze some fresh lemon juice into this. And I tell you, it just amps up the flavors. The vanilla pops out, the beautiful lemon comes through. I find it very cumbersome to fill the jars from this big bowl.
Okay.
So we're all mixed up and ready to go. I do find it a little bit better if we can just make a change to a smaller pouring vessel that has a nice little lip. So I'm just going to put these right in here.
Okay.
And as you can see, Wendy,
If you could smell this, well, if you're baking with us at home, you are smelling it. It smells delicious. The lemon that you added really does add something.
yeah, absolutely. But here's the trick about Instant Pot. So you had said that you are not familiar, haven't really
Not
used
at
the
all.
Instant Pot, but what we're going to do is we need to cover the top of the cheesecake.
Okay.
Why is that?
Beats me.
Okay, we're going to cover the top of every cheesecake, not with a lid, but we are going to cut up some foil pieces. I've already started, so if you can cut one more piece of foil, cut it in half, just a size enough to cover this, because what happens in the Instant Pot is that small amount of water that we put in when it goes under pressure, it condenses inside. So if we don't cover the top of this, it'll end up full of water. So we're going to cover it with some foil, and then we're going to place them into our Instant Pot. So what we're going to do now is just give them a little quick cover. So great job on cutting.
Shiny side?
No, it really doesn't. We just want to keep that water out of there, just nice and tight, because we are going to stack them. 1 cup of water is what you always need to put in the Instant Pot when you're doing some cooking. It's not a dry experience, as we know with a pressure cooker. It needs some water, so we're going to put 1 cup of water in there. And now, Wendy, we're going to stack our cheesecakes. So what I'm going to do here is inside, just as you would imagine, we are stacking 4 all around, and they perfectly fit. So 4
on the bottom layer.
And we'll just place that last one right in the center. Everything perfectly fits, lots of space around the outside for them to get cooking.
Okay, this is where I'm going to need some help because I've never used one. So let's talk about the settings.
Great. Let's get the lid on.
Okay.
So we've got our pressure nozzle here. And what happens is the front, Wendy.
Ooh.
Yeah, did you hear?
I heard it. Yes.
So in the front, there is a placement on the Instant Pot that it shows you where to put it on. Sometimes folks have a hard time getting the lid on. But if you get to know where that direct placement is, see, you could go like this for hours and go, I can't get this lid on. But what happens, there's just a little mechanism right here. And then you close it. So now it's closed. And it does say that it's off, so we're going to make sure that we program it on. But before we program it, what's really important, Wendy, is this nozzle. This is our venting mechanism. If the venting mechanism isn't in the right place, it won't go under pressure. So we just want to make sure that it is straight at 3 o'clock or 9 o'clock. We don't want it to be anywhere else. We're just going to leave it right there, and we're ready to program. So it's showing that it's off. We're going to hit manual. And then what we want to do is make sure here it's got low pressure, high pressure. We do want to make sure it is on manual, high pressure. And the time is, you can adjust the time, but we really just want 5 minutes. With the Instant Pot, once you program it, you just wait for 5 seconds. And it says, I'm ready. And there we go. Wendy, now we just wait. Thank you, Instant Pot. Good job.
Okay, for our friends baking along with us at home, if you haven't used an Instant Pot before, the steam that you're seeing is normal. It's good. We are baking under pressure, and pretty soon in the back there's going to be a little thing pop up, and then the steam is going to stop. Okay, the valve just popped up and the steam stopped. Everything's going according to plan. Okay, we have reached full pressure, and so the timer is counting down now because this is when actually the cooking is taking place. We are hoping that you at home are baking along with us, and what we would love is for you to send us photos of you baking. Even if you're not doing it at the same time as us, if you're following along and doing these recipes, or you know what, even your own recipes, we just love to see pictures of you baking. So please submit them to contact@bakingforchange.ca. They might be featured on the program, on YouTube, on our website. Send them in.
So our base is done. Our cheesecakes are cooking,
Yes.
and now it's time. We're actually going to, you said blueberries.
I did.
And we are going to work with some blueberries.
We didn't plan that.
This
Happened for real.
So I actually picked these blueberries this season out at Northfield Farms, which is in Harley, Ontario. And these are beautiful berries from this season. So these were in my freezer. We're just going to put in, this is probably, the measurement is 2 cups, but it's probably 1 3/4 cups of blueberries.
Okay.
We don't need that much for our cheesecakes today, but I'm going to put in about a full cup. So we're going to pop it on here
Okay.
into our element. And no water because we do want it to become a bit of a thicker coulis so that it'll go on top of the cheesecakes. What we're going to be putting in is some vanilla. Thanks, Wendy. We've got some sugar. And the sugar will, all of this together, the liquid from the berry, but then also the freezing process. And the vanilla will be lovely.
Oh,
and then I'm going to add a little bit of cornstarch, just a wee bit, that I'm going to put in with some water.
Okay.
And we'll get the water in a moment. But this is, in my community, there's a beautiful ethnic grocery store called Persaud's, and I bought this gorgeous ginger honey. Oh my goodness. So ginger and blueberries is a beautiful combination. So what I'm going to do is just put a little bit of the ginger honey in as well. Absolutely love it.
Now, what if somebody doesn't have access to that?
The honey's optional.
Okay.
The only reason I'm putting in the honey, good question, is for that ginger flavoring.
Okay.
Can you just take this off my spoon
I
right
can
here?
do that.
Good
Yes.
teamwork. Thanks, Wendy.
So we've got a soft simmer going on here. Is that about what we want to see?
It's perfect.
Okay.
Yeah. What I'm going to do so that we can just thicken it up a little bit, Wendy, is I had that very small amount of cornstarch with a
Yes.
little bit of water.
Okay.
So if you want to stir this and
Okay.
keep stirring because the cornstarch will quickly thicken.
Okay.
You just want to add it in slowly. You always want to put it with a little bit of water so that it doesn't clump. Yep, we'll just finish that up. Oh my goodness, it smells beautiful.
Really good.
So you'll see that what's happened is it's starting to count down. And we did our 5 minutes of high pressure cooking, and now we're going to wait for it to count down 5 more minutes. At the back, the pressure release valve is still engaged. So we can't just open the Instant Pot without engaging the steam and letting it go. But we're going to let those cheesecakes just sit for 3 more minutes, and then we're going to show you how to open the Instant Pot safely.
So the resting period is done and the pressure valve has dropped. So tell us what to do next.
What's next? And this is the part where a lot of people feel a little bit unsure about the Instant Pot. So it's counted down, and as you had indicated, the pressure relief valve has released on its own. You wouldn't want to open the lid, Wendy, if that was still up. You would use the valve here to release the pressure so that this little pin at the back drops. But because we were only working with 1 cup of water, it's already dropped. So we're safe to open the Instant Pot. Now I want you to listen. What we're going to do is we're just going to turn the lid.
Oh, yes.
So that lets us know it's in an open position, and just watch yourself because there will be some steam. We're going to take that Instant Pot off.
We're one step closer.
And voila, our cheesecakes are ready to be not served yet. We'll let them cool, but they're ready to be enjoyed.
So I'm noticing a little bit of water condensation on top of the foil. So I totally understand why you wanted us to cover these, or else that water would be in our cheesecake.
Exactly.
Okay, to our friends at home, we have taken them out of the Instant Pot. And if you do hear a little bit of sound in the background, we actually are cooking another batch while we're doing this. But we're getting ready to put the toppings on. Let's talk about that.
Okay, so Wendy, let's start by removing the foil. Let's have a look at the cheesecakes. And
And
let's
a taste?
Not yet, Wendy. We need to get our toppings ready.
Okay.
But good try. Let's remove the foil. We just want them to breathe a little bit and to cool down.
Okay.
So we just remove the foil. Oh,
Ooh.
look at those cheesecakes. They're perfect. They're nice and solid. There's no condensation on them. They look absolutely.
They are beautiful.
Can you not imagine if you brought these to the next special occasion?
I'm going to.
Okay. All right. Fantastic.
Baking for Change is produced by Goodie Goodie Bakery. Goodie Goodie is a non-profit bakery offering training and jobs for refugee youth. Please visit our website for more information.
Check out the Goodie Goodie Pop-Up Bakery, open every Friday from 10 to 3 at Community Christian Reformed Church, 1275 Bleems Road in Kitchener.
Okay, friends, we have one more step before my favorite part of the show.
What part is that?
The tasting part.
Okay.
But we can't taste yet because we don't have toppings on them.
Right.
I mean, we could. You could eat it plain, I'm sure. But why?
Right. No, let's top them.
Let's top
What
them.
do we have?
Okay.
What have you got in your bowl?
I have chocolate and peanut butter over here.
Okay. And I have the blueberry sauce. And then I also have the beautiful granola, grain-free granola. So let's get topping.
Okay. So how much of this should I put on here?
Well, why don't you drizzle, so instead of putting a dollop, why don't you just let it run off your spoon so that you can make some little designs on the top, which will look
feels like pressure.
really, it'll look really nice. Trust me, Wendy.
Okay. I'm scared. Here we go. Let's see what's happening.
I won't
here.
watch.
I know.
I'm
Don't
gonna do
watch.
mine.
Don't watch. Oh, that was not. Look at it blobbed. Okay, I'm not going to win a decorating contest, but it's going to taste good. That didn't work at all. So my first attempt, we didn't quite have the chocolate and peanut butter heated up enough, and it was a little bit globby, but still be delicious.
Yeah.
So we heated it a little bit more, and it should drizzle a little bit better. I'm going to have another attempt here. Let's see how we do. So just kind of back and forth. Oops, I'm not really doing much better.
Looks
I think
great.
you should have maybe done
No,
that.
it looks great. And then you know what I'm going to do, Wendy? I'm just going to come along and I'm just going to place a little bit of granola in the center.
Perfect.
Voila, done. I'm going to do the same thing right here. And then why don't you just top it with a little dollop of chocolate on top.
Sounds
That way
good.
we have the crunch, the peanut butter. Looks delicious.
Totally delicious. Spicy Jan. Guess what
Yes.
time it is?
Taste testing time.
Yes, my favorite part of the show.
Mine too. Ready? Let's do it. Which one are you picking?
I did say I'm a blueberry fan, so I'm going to go for the blueberry. What are you going to do?
Well, I do love chocolate and peanut butter together and granola. Let's give it a taste test.
Let's give it a taste.
All the way to the bottom, Wendy. We want to make sure we get the
yeah,
crumble with the cheesecake. Oh my
That's
goodness.
a big
Are you
spoon.
ready? Okay, let's do it.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, creamy. Can you taste the lemon in there?
It is delicious.
Just that little hint of lemon really pulls out the beautiful flavor of the cheesecake and even pulls out the vanilla. What do you think? Would you be the hit at the next special occasion? Or would you share?
Maybe not.
Okay. Well, sometimes you can just make them for
We
one,
did
too.
make one for our cameraman because he has to watch and smell and while we get to enjoy.
Well, Wendy, I had a fabulous time cooking with you today. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I learned a lot as usual, a lot about the Instant Pot, but also I'm super excited to try one of your tasty tours.
Awesome. We're in multiple communities: Cambridge, Ancaster, Stony Creek, Brantford, Paris, and Norfolk County / Port Dover. So
Can't wait.
I can't wait to see you there.
Yes.
Thanks for watching and see you next week on Baking for Change. Special thanks to Wendy Pauls. And Spicy Jan from Tasty Road Trips, Crystal, our production assistant, and Community Christian Reformed Church.